Welcome back. The action continues here with a meeting between the premier players of Portugal and Poland as Jose de Sousa, the special one, takes on the Polish Eagle, Krzysztof Ratajski. Charlie Korsafine steps into the refereeing position, a new addition to calling on PDC stages, and a fine job he has been doing as well. A fine job this pair have been doing over the last half a decade, but maybe, just maybe, starting to slip away a little bit this year, and this is a great opportunity for one of them to put themselves back in the picture for major honours.
Yeah, I like this fixture a lot. It's not just the figureheads of two nations, like you said, Murph, but players who are looking for something to happen, maybe again.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. First leg, it's Krzysztof to throw first. Game on.
In the summer, we saw from the special one that when he played at the match play, he needed that big stage exposure to get the best out of himself. And maybe a winless Ratajski in 2022 is looking for something extra spicy. And a game like this can tell you exactly where you stand.
They have met on 4 occasions,
60.
Including once on the telly. That was in a short format race at the Slam in 2020. And it could turn out to be quite a pivotal match as well, because it was won in a last leg decider by the eventual champion.
59.
And it's the only time that de Sousa's beaten Ratajski as well. So are we finding the right sort of pitch for the Portuguese man to beat the leading
44.
Pole? You're right about Charlie, though. Great acquisition to the refereeing pool. Great referee. Good at sheriffing the stage. He's got 2 experienced players here. And you wouldn't fancy there's going to be any shenanigans in this fixture.
Yeah, in the age of technology, still play an important role, don't they? The referees
81.
and markers.
Yeah, some things just shouldn't change. I like the referee on the stage flanked by the 2 experienced chalkers with a pen. Just call me old-fashioned.
59.
Give them their credit. The man behind him, you can see there, Charlie, is a man called Mark Walker. Now, that's a perfect name for a marker, isn't it? Because it's Mark the marker and Walker the chalker.
96.
We've got to think of something for Charlie Gardner on the other side. Honestly, those guys look like the FBI. Specs on, all donned in black.
And they might have the work cut out in this match, because we do know that Jose de Sousa is not the
96.
greatest counter in the world. However, I think when we did see him yesterday, I can't remember an error in that department.
No, it was a good performance from Jose. I think he would have been very, very happy with that. Tactically, he made a lot of really good decisions. I think he's going to need to do exactly that against Ratajski, like he did against Janssen yesterday in a 6-2 win.
Or Ratajski is taking aim at double 16 for a 108 to win the first leg, and he gets it.
Second leg, it's Jose to throw first.
Do you remember what I said to you yesterday about Ratajski wearing red? Yeah, there was no sign of the blue today. But there's plenty of sign of the red there, which is what you get from de Sousa when he is playing well. Ratajski's game is all about 140 shooting and getting doubles around about 60% of the time. That's where his game is at when he's playing his best.
Yeah, de Sousa, very, very aptly christened by our good friend and colleague Dan Dawson, the
100.
Portuguese man of scores. Was once the biggest maximum hitter in world darts.
We were also talking in the previous match about the amount of players in the top 10 in the world who use either moulded flights or a moulded flight and stem joined combination. Well, the one person who was in the top 10 in the last month who uses them is Jose, but he's no longer in the top 10. His ranking is tumbled because he wasn't in the Grand Slam to defend that big amount of money. So now he's got to try and find his way back up the rankings.
95. Jose, you require.
If it's going to be this week, arguably he might have the toughest quarter.
Yeah, there's a very, very tough run for whoever does get through this. The next match is likely to be against Luke Humphries, the highest remaining seed in the tournament, though Mike D. Decker is very capable. Massive, massive 180 hitter himself. Dave Chisnell, Scott Williams, we'll see them on this stage later on. They're in that same section, along with Joe Cullen and Kim Hybrex. Ouch.
100.
Yeah, that game has got feisty written all over it. And that is a beautiful double 12. Look at that, right in the middle.
Third leg, it's Krzysztof.
And this one is following a very early pattern, which I think will happen for the rest of the game. I think this is going to be 6-5 either way.
Well, that's how the last match ended. A brilliant burst from Barry, taking the last two legs from 5-4 down in 25 darts to beat Andrew Gilding.
What's your
100.
pick of the games for this afternoon, then, whether it be stage 2 or stage 1? Because mine, unquestionably, is Menzies versus Van Gerwen. And the thing that gets me about this tournament more than anything else, year on year, some of the heavyweights of the game have really peculiar seedings. Michael Van Gerwen is the 22nd seed.
97.
Yeah, if you're wondering why, that's because Michael Van Gerwen is rather pragmatically indulged in a bit of pick and mix this year in terms of which events he attends. Hasn't played an awful lot of Players' Championship Tour events, has played the Big T event, TV event, and has won the Big Three that we've had so far.
Yeah. I don't think that's a subjective comment either. I think if you look at the three biggest tournaments leading up to the Worlds, with maybe the exception of the Slam, the ones that have the history, the Premier League, the Match Play and the Grand Prix. That's just fact.
Well, the number 27 seed, Dimitri Vandenberg, is through. Richie Edhouse, who beat Michael Smith yesterday in the last leg decider, got to one again today, but lost out to the Belgian.
Yeah, nobody's talking about Dimitri at the minute, are they?
Well,
Ratajski for 2-1.
Game shot on the third leg.
This is a good game.
Krzysztof Ratajski.
Following a very nice pattern.
It's Jose to throw first.
Yeah, just to answer your question, I do like that game. I also like Joe Cullen against Kim Hybrex for the reason you alluded to in comments earlier. On this board, Dave Chisnell, Scott Williams is the one I'm most looking forward to.
Yeah, I like that too.
But I
like
think
Schindler against Dorby's got a good
I
game
do
written all over it.
I do like Rob Cross, Gary Anderson. Gary Anderson's a very interesting one because he wasn't brilliant yesterday. He was effective against Gabriel Clemens. Rob Cross has been in good form of late, but Anderson, don't forget, didn't play at the European Championship or the Grand Slam. So he's coming in cold to this tournament, and I've said it many, many times. It only takes him 2 or 3 games to get in the swing of things.
He was here early this morning, Gary, and he was on a board that had nobody on it. He wasn't in the designated practice room. He was on a spare board outside. He was completely in the zone, and he knows he's going to have to be on it today to take out Cross, who was very, very good yesterday.
60.
But the thing about this fixture that is fascinating, this is the 11th month of 2022, and neither of these two players have won this year. If you'd have said that to me 12 months ago, that these guys would come into this fixture without a win, I would have been shocked. But it is the reality.
Ratajski has left himself a biggish finish.
137.
Try and put some distance between himself and De Sousa. That's how to do it. That's not how to do it.
44. Jose requires 64.
It could be one of those games that goes 2-1, 2-2, 3-2, 3-3. Let's find out if it's 2-2.
32.
It might not be.
Krzysztof, you require 96.
I'm going to ask you a little question in a moment, Paul, about the mind of darts players. But it might be a case of mind the gap for De Sousa if this goes in.
60.
Well, flicked off the flight, didn't it? But that suggests it wasn't
32.
on course to hit its target anyway.
Have you been listening to the soundtrack of the London Tube, by the way, saying Mind the Gap?
Well, the next dart to arrive at its destination is that one in
28.
double 4, but it's missed.
Krzysztof, you require 36.
I think it's fair to say that all three there for Jose weren't his best. This is a freebie for Krzysztof. That's a better marker. Just over the top of that one.
Well, it was clinical at the start, wasn't it? The first 3 legs of this game. And suddenly, the pair can't hit a double between them. Double 2. Aptly. Double 1. Has to finish on that this leg, but it's not finished yet. Does Ratajski consider splitting?
16 double 1.
Well, he does split.
Game shot
More conventional route to the one Paul Nicholson mischievously suggested, but it is a 3-1 lead.
The thing that's funny about that leg, not just about what happened with Jose going around the houses, but Krzysztof wins it and shakes his head as if he's opened a Christmas present and it was what he didn't want.
But the question I was going to ask you, Paul, Jose de Sousa on 80 with 3 darts in hand, which way does he go?
81.
Very, very different.
It's usually
day on
tops.
day. He usually does go tops, but every now and again he goes 60 for double 10.
Now, why is there an obsession for professional darts players to go for tops as a double-double, but never anything else? Like he was on 64 then, why not double 16, double 16?
125.
I like the question. And thinking about the game the way that I do, as a bit of a traditionalist, there is no sense in going tops, and there's 0 sense going double 16, double 16. Now, we have seen him go for 2 double 18s on 72 as well. I've seen Boris Krutchmer go for double 17, double 18 on 70.
By the way, we've seen de Sousa go for 3 tops on 120.
Me personally, in these really tough encounters, you've got to play the odds. You've got to go for that for double 10. If you get the single, you've got single for tops. Give yourself the best chance of taking the leg. But there are players out there like Richard North, like de Sousa, and some others who persevere on this tops nonsense when they've got 80, when it's just going to bite them in the bum.
99.
Well, I think we saw it yesterday, didn't we? Was it Ritz who had 80, went for tops and missed 2 darts out the board? And he had 1 dart in his hand, and you can't complete 80 with 1 dart.
Krzysztof requires 62.
We saw a bit of a mistake in the counting there. Not that it's going to matter in this leg, because Ratajski has rallied. And we saw a really dodgy end to that previous leg. And we might be seeing a case of the man who got away winning it, kicking on.
42.
And thinking, look, it's going to be my day. And the other one thinking it's not going to be my day. Just looks a little laboured here, de Sousa. Not quite the Mensah-Suljovic level of going for double 12 at the start of every visit.
Yeah, give it time. That was one of the weirdest legs I've ever seen. But that is a 4th leg for Ratajski. So far, so good. He's averaging over 90. De Sousa labouring at 87. Maybe this is very symptomatic of his year. There's been too many of these in floor tournaments, and every now and again he's just having what looks like a very difficult time for a 5-leg period.
Yeah, looks a lonely, frustrated figure on that stage at the moment.
This is the thing we should warn the younger generation about when it comes to playing top-level darts. It's all well and good when you're doing what Josh Rock's doing, making lots of money, putting in these great performances. Performance of the year still. The only person to go over the 120 mark this year, Josh Rock. 9-darter at the Slam. But there are going to be times where you're on this stage, you're 4-1 down, very lonely up there, and you alone have to dig yourself out of this. You've got no help from anybody. So just heed that warning. This is the hard part of darts.
Well, can de Sousa dig himself out? Still, he does look pretty forlorn, doesn't he? Just to recap the results from today so far here on stage 2. Callan Ridds defeated Germany's Ricardo Pietrasco 6-3 in the opening match, and will face Keane Barry tonight in the last 16 after Barry bounced back to win 6-5 against Andrew Gilding. The main stage has seen Dirk van Dijvenbode demolish Daryl Gurney 6-1, and Dimitri Vandenberg pip Richie Edhouse at the post 6-5. That match I mentioned between Gary Anderson and Rob Cross is now underway.
Yesterday we saw a couple of curious 90 checkouts
58.
and attempts at this
Krzysztof, you
number.
require 90.
Just wonder what Ratajski's going to do here. Defensive players usually go 20s. The aggressive guys go bull. For me, this is the right player. The right result for Ratajski, who's doing nothing wrong. It's not spectacular. It's just typically consistent.
You called it the defensive way, didn't you? It was
Krzysztof
defend and then attack
Game on.
from Ratajski in that one.
Well, for me, he did that shot perfectly. You stay straight, you get 2 singles, you get a shot at the bull. That's guaranteeing a shot for the leg. And then you get the 60. You have the rangefinder on the odd double, and then you can be aggressive with dart 3. I think that was brilliant from Ratajski, I really do.
Gary Anderson has an early break against Rob Cross. He leads 2-0 in that one.
60.
We'll keep you up to date with what's happening on the main stage. Those of you who have opted to watch this match and the rest of the Stage 2 coverage. Plenty of decent games still to come. The next one features one of the best performers yesterday, Martin Schindler. He takes on Chris Dobie.
96.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a great game. I don't want to put the hex on it, but it's got a lot of potential to possibly be the best game of the day.
100.
Well, that fourth leg of this match, where both players really messed around on the doubling before Ratajski eventually went out, has just completely destroyed De Sousa. He's been absent
98.
ever since.
He's playing truant. He's going for plan B downstairs on the scoring element.
57.
Nothing is happening,
Krzysztof, you
and he
require
does look like a beaten
167.
man.
The writing is certainly on the wall.
I think Ratajski in this game has found every single corner of that 57.
131.
A brilliant setup shot. And De Sousa has looked like a man who's known his fate
Krzysztof, you
for the last 5 or 10
36.
minutes. Ratajski can seal it here. And does.
Game, shot,
On double
and
18.
match.
Krzysztof Ratajski races away from a defeated De Sousa. A 6-1 success for the Polish Eagle, who lands a place in the last 16 at the Players' Championship Finals. By no means a special performance, but effective enough to get through to this evening's session. Coming next here on Stage 2, Martin Schindler and Chris Dobie.